A question about the real estate market in Bali, because it has become very prominent recently. Probably after COVID, yes, it was super loud before COVID, and then there was the COVID pause. And then again, there was and continues to be this wave. I don't know if it can be called hype or not hype, but a wave of rapid growth when the price of land rises, when the price of property rises, including for rentals. What trend can you describe right now, especially over a long period of time, like 12 years?
Yes, there was indeed a very strong pent-up demand, and a lot. I know European and Singaporean funds that were waiting for the borders to open. They love Indonesia, Bali. Yes, they are buying up property there, and here they are getting a higher return than they can get at home. And the growth in land prices was rapid. It is now slowing down in many areas. But the speed of rentals has not even kept up with the speed of land growth in some areas. And so, for example, according to our statistics, yes, we have a lot of statistics. The main value of our company is precisely the statistics. We all indeed make decisions based solely on data. And with this, we actually have prices that have accumulated over 14 years in Bali. And with so many properties across all areas. And for example, for all our properties in the area. Canggu, for example, saw its ROI slightly decrease last year. It's just that the speed of rentals can't keep up.
For the offer that appears
behind the speed of land growth, that is the properties themselves.
The cost is increasing.
Yes.
And the main question that interests everyone, what is the actual rental ROI for properties in Bali?
If we really calculate everything that should indeed happen, all the costs and depreciation, few people take it into account in ROI forecasts. Taxes, all types of taxes, yes, that is what guests have to pay, what the owner has to pay on the income. If we take all this into account, then of course the ROI will be, well, around 8, probably 10% on average. And recently there was a presentation, the Hotel Association and the Vacation Rental segment, that is private housing, and they on average, Bali mentioned a return of around 8%, even slightly less, including hotels with occupancy. Note, it's less than 40% there. Average across Bali.
Because when you look the developer's financial model in presentations, where the occupancy is indicated as 75, 85 for the year, and the question arises, how real is this occupancy?
Such occupancy is possible, but it needs to be verified that the location is truly excellent. Yes, still what always comes first? Location. And second, location. In third place, also location. Then comes the concept. And now with the market changing, so many developers are emerging, yes. Someone told me in November there were 300 development projects. Companies were registered in Bali. Here, and even more significance will be in the near future. It has always been extremely important to have a good location, and now it will be even more crucial. Extremely crucial. Well, the concept is clear, right? If there is some super unique concept, then it can be built remotely somewhere.
I checked out Felix's plane. It's $2,000 per day. The booking is fully occupied for the coming months.
Yes, we are managing the booking. Are you managing it? Yes, for the plane. Well, of course, yes, if you arrange the plane. It seems to me that even there, it might not have been standing on a cliff.
And it turns out that the cost there might be lower than some regular villa townhouse, actually. I remember you mentioned that, according to your statistics, a range from 8 to 17%, if I remember correctly, you said. And here, essentially, the main question comes down to how to be among those who joined a project that brings 17, let's say 15, even 14%, not 7. Because Bali has its own pros and cons. The pros are the high rental ROI, probably the highest in the world, that is. So far, I haven't heard from a single person. There is a location that brings in more rental income than Bali. There is another side to the coin, land for lease. And here, so far, this market of land rentals and land purchases is not regulated. And essentially the question, capitalization. Because if you calculate the overall ROI correctly, you need to sum up rental ROI and then add the capital appreciation. And then you get a nice figure. So essentially, how are things going for you here? In other words, what brings in 8% and what brings in 17%? And what factors influence these numbers?
Yes.
Besides the location?
Well, on average, yes, our properties, we actually recently looked at our statistics. Yields approximately 10 to 12% there, taking into account all taxes and income. Yes, eat less. I am talking about the average. And indeed, there are cases of 17 to 18%. 17 to 18%, it all depends on the price. You entered the market. That is, these might be somewhat off-market stories, or it's flipping. Well, some people did a renovation, upgraded the class of the property, and accordingly. This certainly increases the value, but you need to be essentially a professional in the market and do something about it.
This is an unconventional story. That is, you have immersed yourself in the market. I studied everything, understood, and found it. So this is no longer just an investment, but a business.
Yes, so you need to understand this. That is, just from afar, remotely, to buy a property and get returns from it. They're, 18, 20%, but that's extremely rare. Only if you're lucky, if you have very good karma. Yes, indeed.
Overall, we can state that Bali yields an average of approximately 10 to 12% annually per year if the standard is met.
Yes, you can count on that with a good management company, again, yes. Which really knows how to outplay competitors in the market, knows how to see these competitors. Yes, that is how we, for example, identify competitors, because this is very important as there are many around, similar real estate properties, and you need to be on the market with them and outperform them, because guests choose whether to go here or there. That's why we buy a lot of tourist data. There are suppliers of tourist data. Our pricing neural network works based on this. Use analytic. Yes. And we know things like, for example, such as booking.com and sells clicks, guest clicks, when guests click on your property but book the neighboring one, or clicked on a neighboring one but booked yours. And based on this data, we understand who are the competitors of this property. We are not guessing who the competitors are. You know for sure. Yes. And then we connect to them, we monitor. Well, because closed and open data is accessible information. And prices are accessible information, and we outperform them on the market every day, or by price.
In other words, it's like Google Analytics, essentially just in the world of real estate.
Well, basically, yes.
And here it turns out to be 10 to 12% already taking into account that the investor has paid you a percentage.
Yes.
For management.
Yes, of course, an investor with us should indeed earn more and always earns more, rather than him going there himself and posting on Airbnb.
Because you do it professionally. Listen, well, 10 to 12% sounds good. Well, it's clear that, among other things, we are saying that, yes, 15% is possible, based on the data we see. But even if we understand that in Dubai, for example, it's 7 to 8%, and even then not always, in Turkey it's 7 to 8%, and even then not always. What other locations, like Thailand, it's the same story. So we can confidently declare that Bali is currently the highest yielding region, the highest yielding rental property market in the world.
Yes, absolutely. I say this all the time. So far until now. Probably for about 5 years, for sure. Beyond that, it's hard to predict what will happen. What will happen with all the developers entering the island. But this is the case and will remain so for the next 5 years. Absolutely. Great.
Because my role and the role of my company as a real estate agency is to show the investor the realities. Because if the investor just comes to the market, he will go to 5 sales departments of developers. Each will show him their own story. He will have no idea what the reality of this market is. I specifically conduct such interviews. That is, someone might think, why are you doing this if you say 15? And then someone comes to you for an interview and say 10 to 12%. Because first of all, I want my conscience to be clear. And investors do not have inflated expectations. That is, it is much better for an investor to come to us, who will be satisfied with an annual return of 12%. And when you or someone else, for example, achieve this yield for him, you will say, cool, I am satisfied, thank you. And there won't be a situation where we promise 15% and then the investor comes back disappointed. If he gets 12%, he will say, well guys, this is pure deception. We will then feel that our work. It is essentially neither wrong, nor unfair, nor environmentally friendly, and so on. Therefore, it is better for us to understand the situation now and bring real information to the market. I believe that, ideally, every market player should do this, and then everything will be fine for everyone, absolutely.